1, Master Xeon 1001 here. As a big fan of Doom, I saw this environment on Twitter and just wanted to take a crack at it, just modeling some glass walls, and I liked this area of the floor and whatnot. Just wanted to just do a little modeling, and so this was the result that I came up with. Just goofing off, just kind of made like a sci-fi containment bay using decals. So I'm going to save this file, press Control N, and let's just go ahead and begin. So when it comes to importing decals, my good friend Tony has released a decal kit, which comprises of a series of decals that you're able to import using images as planes. So if we go over into Look Dev, you can see that it's relatively easy for us to go over here and change this to Alpha Blend, giving us a decal that we can plop straight on the surface using face snapping. So this is kind of how I've been getting used to doing decals in 2.8. In addition to that, I've also been doing a lot of glass cutting, which is just basically assigning a material and giving it also additive blend. And then just messing with the transmission and the roughness. In fact, let's change it to additive. And so, yeah, with something like this, I'm able to just go with box cutter and just cut out pieces of glass. So I've been actually having quite a bit of fun with this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. Alright, so jumping in and getting started, I'm going to press G and hold Control and just move this cube over to the side. And then we're just going to bring in the classic red box and hold Shift because I want to press 2 for the edge, bevel this one greatly, bevel this one just a little bit, just a little bit of a bevel, and then I think I'm going to scale it in, give myself more floor, more ceiling. Shift mode's pretty nice. From here, I'm going to C-sharpen this to apply these modifiers so far and just set this as our new starting point. If we look in the helper, I have it set to mark everything including seam. I'm actually, for the purpose of this video, I'm just not going to mark the seam. The seam seems to make everything red, so we're just going to not do that. I'm going to press Alt X and we're going to use modifier. I've recently returned from a great sleep. Earlier I thought it'd be funny to drink some NyQuil, and many hours later I'm back, you guys. I woke up just in bed, It's like, wow, it's way early. Can't believe I slept away the whole day. So right here, I'm going to just bring this out, but I'm going to press O to bring this part out. We're just going to take this, and I'm going to press X to change that into a yellow cut. Right here, we see the normals are looking a little crazy. We're going to just move this up the stack, and of course I'm just going to get messaged the entire video. Watch. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore those beeps. One more beep and I might get angry, but for now I'm cool. So I'm going to Shift A, add a plane. Let's subdivide this a couple of times and change this over to wire mode. I'm just going to bring this in and rotate it. I want to make sure that active only's hit here, so that way I don't slice through my work plane. I love discussing how weird it is slicing through. I need to come up with a better name than work plane, like box plane. So right here, it's only letting me cut in one direction. However, we can actually, let's cancel that. Let's take this and we will just go under mesh, normals, flip normals, and now when we draw this, we'll be able to cut the direction we need. Sheesh. What happened here? So let's try that again. And that time it worked. However, I want to, sheesh. There is definitely something strange happening behind the scenes that we'll be checking into for this Christmas break, coming in an emergency hotfix. However, continuing on, we're just going to cut through here. We're going to do a cut here. And we'll just put a loop cut circumnavigating the whole form, and that will just ensure that we have a very nice controlled area. So very quickly we are getting started, and it's always a slow start, but once these pieces start getting pieced off, it's just starts getting fast. We cut a piece off, we come back, we cut another piece off, so now this is super thin, and this will be some glass, but we got to draw in this piece, but we'll hold shift to keep this for a moment, and I'm going to use part of snapping pies to snap the origin to geometry, and I'm also going to Alt-X, not that one, I'm going to Alt-X and use symmetry to put a edge right down the middle, and then we're just going to take that, bring it up, and extrude it in. And we have something like that, and we can just give it a little bit of T-thick, just to make our lives easier instead of dealing with slice at this time. So currently we are off for the holidays as far as our operations, but we have one more surprise for you guys, maybe even two. So, not Ingon. Please don't even ask. We are working on it. Guys, I'm getting so much email about Ingon. I'm going to C-sharpen this, and then I'm going to press L over this piece and separate that. So this is its own piece. And now I can just draw some yellow box right here. But we do want to maybe use blue box right here. Blue box. Now automatic, thanks to AR and proxy. So we look at that, look at this one, and we're going to have to do the same thing here. So lazy cut, lazy blue box cut, and we'll lower the B width, lower the B width of this. We have something like that, and we can just keep having some fun here. Hold shift, SZ, and we can even give this some thickness, hide it, and just keep going. So up here, I am going to stop drawing blue boxes. Alright, blue box is drawing a little bit longer than they're supposed to. Also, I think I see what's going on with the slice. The more a glitch happens, the more I feel like I can understand what's going on with it. I mean, I should. So right here, we'll press B. And up here, we're just going to take a cue from our reference and change this to a J join box. Press O to offset it. Hold shift to keep it live. And it's like, hey, I need to talk to you for a minute. So I'm going to press Alt-H. I always regret this. Alt-H. Actually, I didn't need Alt-H. We'll just hide that back. So if we look at this from the front, we see that we have a piece that is live, but we have most of this already applied. Also, in object mode, it is cutting and destructive. So I think there's still some sort of glitch working there, because I definitely intended to keep this non-destructive. So tap into edit mode, use blue box, cut that. That's going to solve all our problems. We're going to turn on cutters for a moment, and selection of wire objects has gotten better. I apologize for calling them second-rate citizens in the past, but I definitely see some improvement with the selection there. So I'm going to hit hops array, because I just don't use this thing enough, and AR is really it's just impressive with the work he does. there we go, we have this piece here, and so now we can switch back to yellow box, and let's just talk about this piece. Alright, I'm done talking about that piece. Let's talk about this piece. Okay, I'm done. We'll use a red box, and all this is working up towards us being able to just add some nice details on this thing. So just cutting off some sections up top, which we will be dealing with incrementally as we go. One of the main things that I saw in that image that kind of made me just want to make something was right here. We are talking about the next level of box cutter, which is pop-ups and stuff like that. We definitely want to do something way cool with the pie menu as far as how we want to bring it back and make it more useful and accessible for new users where everyone can have fun with it. I'm sure I've mentioned in previous videos, I've always found the previous pie menu in box cutter to be a little complicated, admittedly, but that's just because of the order in which we came together with our plans on it. Certain things were added just later that should have maybe been added sooner, etc. So we're just going to bring in a box, bevel it, lower to be with. You'll have to forgive my competent hotkey reading this evening. I just don't feel good at all. I feel terrible. Right here, that just did not work. Proxy, I'll be linking you that time code later. And we got to find out what's causing that. So, our work plane disappeared. There it is. It's not too far away. So let's just take this up here. I'm going to press Shift Numpad 7, Shift 1 to orient with this thing, and we're just going to rotate it to Shift 1, and we have it just where we want it. So we'll put it here, and that's nowhere near where we want it. Which side is real? This side is real. So as I use this thing in my workflows, I give it a little more thought and planning as far as what I would like to do with this thing. Also, absolutely terrible. Why did that look that way? I don't know if it's because I'm sick or if box cutter's trying to have a prank on me, but maybe it's the angle. Let's bring it this way. We try that again. We'll press D to go back to draw mode. And we'll hold Shift to keep that live. Gotta love Shift to live. It is just so fantastic. I feel that it's almost as powerful as Ngon because you really want to get in there and tweak some of these shapes. So dealing with the final part of the top, let's just draw a red box. Let's press X, get that back right here, bevel width too big. Let's fix that. Let's look at it from the top. We will put a yellow in there, cut, Shift, R, X, and we'll bring that down, and from here we're just going to hit this with an array. I bet the question that I was being asked was, hey man, are you recording? Never fails. So we'll draw a box, bring it up, and do something like that. We'll press X, because I just love pressing X. Spoiler alert, I do not. We will be fixing that ASAP. Every redundant key being pressed in this workflow is being evaluated and thought about as far as where we want to take these sort of things. Just like we made circle much fewer on the clicks, let's look at this thing in local mode. That thing's fine. Let's look at this thing. Just lowering the B width, it will be fine. We will shift this up, R, X, bring it back. One of the things I had in the previous ideas for the last box cutter was that maybe we should have some sort of system for inserting rotated boxes by default. So let's get this floor. That much floor we're not going to touch. We'll just bring this piece down, press 3, just scale this face out and make some adjustments. As you notice, I am still in mirroring bliss because this new bisect mirror is no joke. It is the most serious mirror tool ever added to Blender. Because of it, it's just changed my life. You know, if you're looking at Blender from the outside, just know one of the things I've always hated was the mirror tool lacked bisection capabilities, and it's literally a dream come true. I've received all my Christmas presents early, as long as it remains that way. So we'll see sharpen, making everything real. Didn't want to do that. Had to do that. Didn't even have to do that. I mean, really, I'm wondering why I did that, but we're just going to keep going, you know. X, and from here, we'll just do a little cut. Just cut a little happy piece off of there. And right there, you just saw something you weren't supposed to see. But that will be in another video. So, right here, I'm going to just draw a box all the way across. You know how we do it. And bring this piece down. Just cut little notches. So, sometimes I come in here and I do videos and I make things kind of based off of imagination. And you might see in other videos I'll kind of sketch out an idea and really let it marinate. And that's kind of because, well, for one, it might be crazy, but for two, I also enjoy comparing. You know, we will need to handle this one differently. So, local mode with blue box will get weird. So let's cut it here. Let's go in wireframe mode. We'll cut it here. And so let's go back to solid. And the only reason I even care about these cuts, let's go back into this mode and see what happened. I probably cut too close to the mirror. Okay, it's definitely something to do with local mode. So if I press Z, or I just go to this mode and start cutting here, everything's fine, which is what we want. So it's just rolling with the punches. Local mode is something that I keep expecting is going to be fixed in one of these upcoming patches, but it still is a work in progress. But I know, guys, local mode, it's awesome. We'll be getting that taken care of. So continuing to cut, you know, I'm just a Wolverine. I'll cut the nearest mesh near me. Christ almighty, this house is hot, you guys. I don't know why the house is always so hot whenever I'm doing these videos. Alright, it should begin cooling off. So back to work. Blue box, blue box, blue box. Quit jumping on this blue box. And I think that is because I did not check preserve non-D, which is why that option exists. And really, all these options checked is how I run Box Cutter. So pretty much most of these behavioral issues that I've been running into have probably been my fault. Like I said, I'm not completely at full form, but that doesn't mean that I can't take a break from this. The work must continue. So I'll hold shift to keep that live, and you see just this thing going through some hard times. We're going to go into wireframe and look underneath, because I know that whatever I'm looking at up here is probably going on down there. And we're also going to take this chance to apply bevel and apply a ray, and we're going to remove any sharpening. And we're just going to move this stuff over. And this is all just like setup, you know, for talking about decals and image planes, because I've been just having a lot of fun with them. You know, as you guys know, I've been a big fan of Decal Machine. I've used it a lot in the past. But in 2.8 we just don't have it, so I've had to deal with other options, and it's led to some interesting discoveries, to say the least. Right here I'm going to press X, but we're going to wonder why it looks so bad. So zoom right in there, lower to B width to something competent. For this piece, you think I can't see a slight artifact in this area? You activated my trap card. Let's dance. So in local mode, we're just going to check this thing out, and there's the offender, the pretender, and it's not going to make it to the render. Damn it, I did not mean to do that. I got to stop C-sharping. I'm kind of impulsive whenever I do it. You know, I just C-sharped an innocent person. Wasn't even part of the problem. So I'm just going to keep going, but RIP those live cuts. So what are we looking at here? Let's undo that, and let's look at what we have here and see why it's being so hard to cut. Is there an edge there? Edge there. Let's go back into local. Where's my work plane? You know, work plane, it's there for you, especially if you never press H with it. You know, there it is. Good buddy work plane. So I mean, sometimes it's like, why have it? Oh, God, what is this? Active only. Let's make sure this one's there, this one's there. Okay, so slice is not yet working correctly with active only. So I'm going to hold shift, keep this live, bring it down, bring it out, and that's all I had to do. So, slight bug there. You know, things are kind of weird, but we're back up in the club. In fact, sometimes it's important to show you guys how easy it can be to roll with the punches, because I guess I've just been experiencing oddities so long that you just roll with it. It's not even worth stopping what you're doing, because another one will come up. If you stop for every oddity, you will be consumed by oddities, and except for the ones that are more serious. But I'm truly thankful that whenever we put hard ops in, that we had so many fallback systems, because, for example, mirroring, if you're not able to use the gizmo, there is the Alt Shift plus X, Y, or Z, which is from the mirror days, which can be very useful if you have issues there. We're just going to extrude and bring out this piece, bring this piece in here, maybe extrude, bring it in there, something like that, and you know, let's just mirror it across using the mirror gizmo, because the mirror gizmo is working on my side with Alt X. And let's take this work plane. We might want to give it a better name than plane, but I don't feel like going in the in panel. And I'll press Alt V and we'll jump to HQ, and let's just look at what we have here. Alright. So right here I'm going to choose a yellow box, and we're going to cut and hope that it doesn't come out looking ugly. Change this to a red box, cut in, slope it, and we will just bring a few cuts down here. So right here, I'm just going to shift right click, add a plane. You know, I just want to do something real nice, real fast. Sheesh. You know, there used to be an Alt B back in the day where you could just kind of laser look your way through some stuff, but it's not here yet. So So I'm just going to cut, you know, like Zorro. And we're just going to press Control B. It added more loops than I want, but I don't care because I'm deleting them. And I'm just going to select everything and press Control Shift B, which if you hit a cougar with that same hand technique, you will put it to sleep. 2 strikes. One at the top of the head and one around the neck, dude. Just keep that in mind. Control Shift B for beveling verts. So because this is a plane, I can use 2D bevel, and then extrude as well, which I also forgot about. Really off my game today. So we will just bring this down, and we'll use the Control Numpad minus from Hard Ops to make the cut. And right here, we're going to just draw a red cut. That piece over there, never saw it coming. Bam. Cut it through the middle. You know, we'll turn this into a red box, bring this down. So our behavioral updates, I see that we still have a few more that I got to get in there, but you know, like I said, guys, I can only ride people so hard. You know, this is supposed to be a fun endeavor, but I am seriously a very hard person to work with, especially come to holiday times. It's my least favorite time of year. So I will bring this down, press B, and press X to cut that across. And let's look at this from the front. I'm going to roll the view with Numpad 8, and we're just going to cut here, take both of these pieces away, and let's look at what we got here. So right here, our angle is so advanced that we have to sharpen it ourselves. It's the only way. In fact, if we change this to weight, it'll look good. However, because we are working in non-destructive, or not even that, since we're working in angle mode, it's going to change it. So watch this. If we, oh god, they really put me through the paces. So I'll have to come through, resharpen them again. But we're not going to be sticking around on that, and let's jump back to angle, because angle is our fallback system that we're using while we're currently getting our weight workflow back to where we had it with the previous version, which right now I would say that our tools are at gun level, but they're not quite at robot level, which is the level that I need it to be. But it is getting there. Maybe mechanoid, but not so much, not level dukes, level Veldocs, maybe level dukes actually. But look at me being hard on little box cutter, little hops. God, my voice sounds terrible. I apologize for anyone watching this video. I'll try to fix this audio in the post, but I just know that I'm gonna get a ton of comments of people saying that, you know, I sound like Dr. Girlfriend, or that you can't hear me, or I should buy a new mic. You know, I just bought a new mic just recently, the AT2020. So I'm not buying any new mics at this time, unless someone has a very specific recommendation that is unanimously agreed upon. But I mean, I have a blue mic, I have this mic, I got the Razer mic, I got a mic on my headset. Actually made a mistake there. I think I pressed A to jump to make. Feeling slightly woozy as I work on this, but we're going to hang in there, because there's only one acceptable outcome, and that is finishing the model. So we'll just roll these out there, and I'm just going to press X. God dang. We'll click to apply it, then press X, because that's how you do it. And now we can just draw a red side box. And just bring that down, something like so. And this is what we have so far. So if we jump over to render mode, I'm going to press Alt-V, jump to LQ, and I'm going to save right here because, believe it or not, every time I get into this, I start getting crashes. What was my last file name? So we'll just call this Core Demo 1. That work? Okay, thank you. I'm just going to shift select the last thing I selected, and we're just going to add a material, give it like a gray base color, crank the metallicity like Soldier Boy. Blender will crash or it will stay. A crash can be bad, but a predictable crash is not so bad. So Blender crashed, and I hopefully cut out me swearing. So we'll do it again, because Blender won't crash twice. You know, that's one thing I know about Blender. You know, they know I will go down to the Institute if that happens. Beating on the door. You know, I will speak to Ton right now. So continuing to cut, just looking at what we got here. So with this piece, a lot of people have been asking me how I do glass. Before that, I'm going to cue S# and take this stuff, separate it, and also I see that seam is back on. Seam just overrides everything. So this piece, let's just say we want to make it glass. I'm going to make it glass. So we already have the metallicity already up. We're just going to jump this to additive. Bam. That is glass. So, I mean, that's how easy it is. Glass is glassy in Eevee. I love it. In fact, we take this, lower down to roughness just enough, not too much. I don't want to see all that background. You know, maybe even put a clear coat on it. Clear coat could crash. So I shouldn't even be playing around like that, you guys. But another thing I noticed is that if you lower the color, it makes it even more transparent. So, you know, there's our glass, right, for our scene. And so, just continuing on, you know, all these videos, I just always just play with principal shaders now because I can just look at these models sometimes and tell that maybe there's something I need to look at, but, you know, this thing makes it, alright? This model makes it. I'm not going to look at it today. Normally I would. I'd get up in its face and check its shading, but, you know, so simple. Doesn't need that. Just going to lower the color, raise the roughness, wonder why this thing is still so bright and not dark. Put a little metallicity in it. Lately I've just, okay, I see, it's the glass touching right up against it. So let's select this, Alt-M, assign that. Let's select this piece up here. We want to darken that and adjust the roughness, and we want to probably do the same to this piece, using Control-L to just share their materials. Those materials look terrible, so add a little bit of roughness back to it. Let's take these pieces, make it share materials with this. The original material we assigned to it is just so overbearing, so we could probably bring it down, either make it really shiny or less shiny. But lately I feel I've been a little shiny, little chrome. So right here we have a cut there, but we're going to need to change this modifier to be weight so that we can manually mark this sharp. So the weight workflow is important to me personally because it allows me to manually mark sharp things that can't be turned into a procedural thing, because I don't only work under the bootstrap of the 30-degree angle. So I mean, as I am right now, I've just used it as a constraint on modeling to affect my style a little bit, but normally weighting allows me to break those rules and really start to play with interesting forms. We'll select this piece, give it the same material, just you know, just breaking up what we got here. With our ceiling, we can take this piece. Let's take this piece and then share those materials. Sharing is caring. Back here, we're going to need to put something there. Because it's glass, we can't just leave big holes in the scene. Someone will call us out. So, what can we make here? Oh, so quick. Press 3 to go to face mode. I still sometimes regress to thinking like the old Blender. Alright, there we go. We only need to delete one face. And so for now, we'll just put something like that back there. But really, there was something I did in a previous video that I thought could possibly work for us here. So all this, we're going to move it to collection because that's where everything needs to be. God, get out of here, light, camera. And there's probably an action that we can delete as well, but we'll find it later. Like we'll go into action editor, it'll be a hidden action. But continuing to work here, jokes aside, we'll press Control L, link the materials. You know, anything that looks like a little material breakup could help. That'll work for. We could actually probably leave it like that, call it a day, but let's not do that. Let's create a new collection inside of here. We'll call this plating, and Shift A, add a plane, and that's already inside of here. So the easiest way to handle this would, let's use bisect for the last time. Give it a fair send off. So right here I'm pressing I, I'm going to use K, and we'll just cut out this part, press E for a new knife, cut there. Let's press 3. And we'll bring that up. We'll extrude that down. And we'll do something like that. And I'm just going to extrude this over here. Shift S, origin to selection. We'll get rid of that vert. But now with that done, I can now do it on the Z. And so we've created something kind of like this. We'll get rid of these two garbage edges. Let's bring this up. Use numpad 2 in order to apply to scale. Bevel it. So where was I? Where was I? Yes, we were beveling it. And so from here, we also want to apply it, and now use modifiers. So we're going to mirror it here. In fact, X, Y, Z. Which side is real? We may never know. In fact, maybe we should ask. I want this side to be real, I want this side to be real, and I want this side to be real. And with that, we wished upon a star, and it worked out for us. So I was actually thinking in my head, is that going to work? I'm so glad it did. It would have looked like a full. So I would bevel that. The urge to bevel it is just so great sometimes. I have to fight my urges to bevel everything I see. So we'll just bring a couple of little pieces down. I am in local mode. Let's Shift A, add a plane. Let's just leave it the size it was. Sheesh, where did that plane go? Subdivide, and we will delete every face except the real face. And right click, subdivide, 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 subdivide. Subdivide maybe one more time. I'm going to use spacebar and type in poke faces. Alt J, turn those back to quads. Double tap I to inset that. X, delete faces. Q, thickness. Check please. We will Alt X, move that over, and then just enable every axis known to man. please select the plane. Please select the plane. Okay, so here we go. We have our wall here. I would make jokes about real life allegories, but those jokes just aren't funny anymore. So, continuing on, we'll just box cut some pieces down. Just doing some random detailing. You know, I look at myself doing this, and I wonder, why didn't I ever just use bevel box? You know, that's why it's here. That's why I asked for it. Made it sound so important, and yet I'm not using it. So, bevel box, brought to you by Nabisco. So we'll assign that material. Blender could crash any moment. Anytime it starts having those weird hangs, I start to get a little skeptical. So now, let's come out of local mode. This is perfectly the size of a plane. Also, let's C-sharpen this. Disastrous. We didn't even use blue box for guidance, but this is a little support piece, so all the modifiers are in order, and outliner, please go over a little bit to the left. We'll put that in scene collection, and just move this to the bottom. So under collection, let's shift A, plating. Oh, nice. RX again. I should put it back where it was, actually. We'll just put one here. Put one here. Put one here. Let's just hide that. You know, we don't need the cube anymore. Next time I see that cube, I want him out of here. I want that cube dead. We'll put another one here. So I was worried that having a disabled plating collection out here would affect my ability to deal with that, but that's actually kind of cool. So hopefully I'm recording and y'all are catching me live and in stereo, because if this doesn't work, I'm not recording it a second time. That would be a Patreon exclusive. So right here, C#. Not even the right piece. Now, C#. Let's look at our stack. I knew this was out of order, and I just had to do that unneededly, by the way. But it doesn't really matter, because at some point you're going to want this stuff real. You're going to want to modify it heavier. So the sooner you do it, the sooner you can move on with your life. However, there is no doubt that you can build everything that you see me doing completely non-destructive without having to swap maybe a few edge cuts to guide the way to ensure success. But other than that, holy mackerel, they really gave me that piece on my first try. That's very nice of you, Blender. Merry Christmas to you, too. So, now, up here at the top, this area is so lonely. And it's because I was supposed to put a grate there. Not the greatest grate, but, you know, we got to make that whole grate. Jeez. Bungling on English there, guys. I'll stop and get back to telling you guys hotkeys. So, Control R, roll the wheel. Control R, roll the wheel, just enough to get these guys to look like squares. Are these guys squares? Let's right-click subdivide, Alt-P, Alt-J. And so for my Alt-J, or Alt-P, I had to go in and actually reassign that myself. And notice that under triad of quads, because of the rotation, I had to change the shape angle. Sometimes it'll just work inherently, and then sometimes it will not. And there's our roof. In this instance, not on fire. And we'll just let's assign another material. I pressed so many wrong hotkeys there. I'm just saddened. Come on, Jerry. Used to be better than that. So up here, this needs maybe a light. So let's just cut up in here a little bit. Press X. Alright, I'm looking at this piece to see why only one side received the mirroring. That's something that we will have to get back to. So continuing on, moving the mirror up the stack. And we'll just make this its own material instance. Make it emissive, set the value to 8, and that will be our area light for this particular scene. So we look inside where we'll be storing the animals, which will be inside of this cage where they're safe. So looking at it from the outside looks pretty cool, but still is just missing something. So I think it's more of the color black, but let's take a slice off the side here. So just right here, real casual slice. This piece, darker. Press F5, we're looking inside of here. This plane isn't truly a part of this collection. I mean, I guess it could be, but let's put it in the actual scene plane. Also, I need this window a little bit wider. I hate having to scroll just decimeter over to the side to see this. So we have our plane here, we have our collection. But sheesh, we'll press H on that and make sure everything is inside of collection. So this is let's move this to a new collection. Wait. Alright, so we'll select everything and we'll move it to a new collection, and we'll call this sectional 1. And so this will be our first sectional, and we'll put this inside the collection. So if we look at collection 1, there's our sectional 1. This cube, I told you, if I saw that cube walking these streets, he would get got, he would be removed, he would be eliminated. So, collection 1, sectional 1. Second collection, new collection. We'll call this one stuff and things for all the clones of this sectional 1. Shift A, collection instance, sectional 1. Alt G, R90. Shift D, Y, holding control, Shift D, R90, Shift R to just repeat that. So same thing as I've been doing for several videos now. So right here, Shift D, Y, 2, and then we can just Shift R in order to repeat that. So looking at this, we now have all of our cages here, but the cool thing is that if we make this layer 1 is this, layer 2 is this, which is just one of my favorite things about working in Eevee. We're going to press Control S because otherwise it's going to get insane. And so now on to the next thing. So if we press Shift A, we can use images as planes, which is one of Blender's built-in systems. And we're just going to go ahead and load up some of Tony's inserts. So for example, I had him do a couple of decals as a set for me to be able to use in this video and also push as a promotion. So if we look at this, this is what we have, and thanks to a tip from Proxy, if we change this to Alpha Blend, it will actually come in looking better on the color. I was actually using additive and it was just kind of nuking the color a little bit, but additive also has its purpose. So if we change it to that, let's actually use alpha blend for this one. I just realized that because of the color values, we can't play with it like I was in some of my experimentations, but that's okay. I just don't want to go through that. So wireframe, solid, look dev. So we'll put one of these signs here, and this is what it's looking like in perspective. Another interesting thing is I can put this sign here, grab an edge, GG, slide down to get it more under control, like so. I can even slice it in half. So there's quite a bit of fun to be had playing with decals. And so this is a kit that Tony has put out that you can go pick up if you're interested in. And as you see in this video, it's quite easy getting started with. So we'll just take this alpha blend, RZ90, these might be some of the biggest decals ever known to man. So we will just slide this in, bring this up, and we're making some progress here. And by holding Alt, I can actually select, click and select the right one. Like right here, I'll hold Alt and I will specifically get the right decal. So that's an important tool that I find useful whenever you're working. We'll use another plane. Right here, we'll go ahead and choose this one, and we'll set this to alpha blend. So right here, I'm going to change snapping to face with Control-Shift-Tab. Another technique, you can put a wildcat to sleep. And we'll use center, and now I can snap it here. And you see that Z fighting? Just by pressing little Alt-S, we can just push that away. So, you know, I previously sent an email to Machine complaining about small nuances with Decal Machine, and as I used it, I realized that maybe I didn't even need to complain to them, because there were things I probably could have avoided on my side by just adjusting my workflow. But it does make me, here we go, we'll select this, and we will choose glossy, and it looks like it will keep the color plugged in, so good on them, because I do like a little bit of reflectivity here. And if we look at this with, okay, they're not on everything yet, so if we take this, we move this into section 1, now they are everywhere. So now this corridor is loaded everywhere, and we can press Alt-V and jump into HQ, and then we really have a scene to look at here. So let's bring this back, and we probably want to do like some varying lights in each of these cells. Also, okay, automatically let me scale that. Just love messing with Eevee. I can't get over it. Eevee's the greatest gift since Cycles, and Cycles was a pretty amazing gift at the time it was being presented. Like, I remember everybody was looking at that thing. Even the initial video of it shows it an interesting light, looking good and fast, and I mean, that was just its start. It became so much faster, so much better afterwards anyways. We'll change this over to additive because old habits die hard. We'll change to alpha blend because I saw it looking a little bad, but I still can't tell which one I like more. I mean, both of them kind of offer their own use. Now, if you're asking why am I not using Substance Painter, it's because this is fun, and this is in Blender, and this is something you can do quite easily. You know, just have a little fun, little concept modeling. But bolts were a large part of our workflow. Pretty much all that has been handed off to KitOps now to handle as far as inserts. So our improvements to the contribution of inserts is coming, but as of now we are currently working on getting everything ready. So for this we will change this to glossy, and we will just put that on the other side, and then everything's perfect. And never seen a glossy one before, so maybe something like that. And then let's bring in a couple more decals, because I am decal crazy, and some of these are actually pretty nice. So we will choose align rotation target. It is checked. We'll change this to additive. And we'll just slap one of these here. Alright, I do want it to be obscured by that one, but maybe smaller. So something like that. And in fact, I don't even want to duplicate it. I want to select that, use Q array, and put that here, and put that here, so that way we can look at this in all of its glory. So even on the ceiling we could be throwing in some decals. Notice that I never ever turn on bloom off the bat, because bloom is a finisher, that's a closer. You want to make sure everything else is just right before you hit it. That way you experience it for what it truly is. Something like that. Then Alt S, very slight, Alt S in edit mode to push it on the normals, to push it out. So we'll just bring that in here, and you know what? We want to change this to alpha blend. We want to change it to additive, just because the faded look might have served us better. But even on the ceilings, there's a place for toning. But of course, we got to shrink it down a little bit, because otherwise it'll look kind of crazy. So something like that will look cool. And of course we can put in like area lights, turn on custom shadow. Let's make sure scene lights is on. So something like that in certain cells. In fact, we could set this up to have random noise values and whatnot, but put one here, duplicate it down the ways, Shift R to repeat a couple of those, and we'll select these all. Blender didn't like any of what I just told you guys. We're going to press Shift D, move it over, and guys, we're cooking. We're doing a lot of cooking. Like this scene, getting real heavy, getting real crazy. So I'm going to jump it over to solid, because you know what? We don't even have to do that. We don't have to do that. We know what caused this. Press Alt V, EVLQ. Okay, we're back. That was kind of weird, but we're back in a club. So you can see that EVHQ is almost like render set for me. So right here we're going to change this to increment. Then we can move one of these out and just do the laziest way to complete this, of just placing one of these here and duplicating it across. And the reason I choose this route is because if someone repeats this at least fill in the hole, you guys. Like, it doesn't have to, you know, be so lazy. If you do it lazy, I'll call you out, just like people are calling me out. Get messages on Instagram, people saying I used to be good. Like, I know, I say the same thing, you guys. So let's change this over to something else. In the lighting tab, we'll go to EVHQ. Let's just see what we got here. Shift tilde, and we can even look around this thing. You know, all these raycast shadow lights is probably just out of control. In fact, let's just set ourselves like right here, and maybe we can delete one out of 2 lights, because I've never had so many area lights and they're all hating me. Actually, I know what's going on. We select all of them. We uncheck shadow while holding Alt. Nope, still mean, still having problems. Let's just delete. Look how fast it renders without all those ray tracing lights. All those shadow tracing lights. In fact, we turn off overlays, really get a good look at what we have here. And I still feel like something's missing. You know, I've also been messing with just glass walls. So to really tie this video off, really you gotta love the way these scenes look. Once you slap a bunch of very basic materials on it, but we're just going to put a section here, and we're just going to slide that in, and we'll Control-Shift-B bevel, and then we'll give it a little bit of thickness. Press 2 because I like to push it from both sides. And give it a little bit of B width, S, Y, B, or Q, B width, and we'll press Alt M, and let's see, we did put the mirror, no we did not. Let's turn on overlays, then put a mirror on it using Alt X. We don't have to go through that much work here, but we do have to go through more work than necessary because of decisions I've made. Sorry about that. Usually it's a little more ideal. So, you know, I posted on Twitter, you know, some classrooms I made, or me goofing off with glass, and someone responded saying I should do a 1 to 2 minute tutorial talking about cutting glass, which got a little bit of a laugh out of, primarily because it's you know, it's just, you don't have to do anything. You just give it a glass material and you're cutting, and I'm just cutting in render mode. So, you know, because I have the amazing, impressive AMD Threadripper 2, you know, this computer could free Afghanistan all on its own. Such impressive, great power in this computer. We'll just do some cuts, give it a different material, do another cut. We'll leave that the way it is, but we'll do this one, and we want to make sure our mirror is before the weighted normal. If it's not, it's going to look bad, guys. Right here, okay, not what I thought I was seeing there. Alright, so we'll take this piece, have it share the material of this, and sure enough, I knew I saw some overlap happening, which means we have to adjust the weighting here. So it doesn't matter because we're already done. And if we see sharp and we mirror it to the other side, now we can come in. Alright, so this is why I don't stay in bevel box, because sometimes I just want a regular box, and most of the time I really just want my favorite box. This box that you're seeing right here. So as you see, I'm just cutting through, just adding a few little supplementary details, just a little something to look at here. Let's take all the pieces of this. There's got to be a better way. Alright, so everything here is selected. We're going to move this to a new collection called walls. So walls is just out here. We'll just turn that off. Shift-A, collection instance, walls. But we'll put that one inside here with our sectional. So for some reason sectional is darker than walls, which, alright, so sectional is real collection. Alright, we go to layer 2. This is what we have. We press Alt-V, go back to LQ because HQ is just heavy. So I'm going to use one more of Tony's inserts here, and we will just bring in this one. Maybe danger. No, there's so many tempting ones here. Not that no step. Here we go. We'll go with this one. We'll change it to alpha blend and change this to face, which gives us all these options. And we have our class here. And we can even move this into the collection walls. Turn that collection off. This instance is fine. We just put a couple of these down the way. And this was just kind of one of those things I was just been goofing off and messing with in 2.8 that I wanted to show you guys just to kind of get y'all started making more interesting assets like it, and playing with glass, because it's freaking insane. There's so many new gifts given to us by Eevee. Like right here, this part, I even figured out how to solve that with the help of proxy. So if we go and we look at layer 1, which is this, truly disgraceful, let's actually turn that collection off. Let's turn on walls, and let's look at this thing. So if we turn on show back face, it should not show the back face. So now if we duplicate it and we press R90, sheesh, what happened here? What does that do? Alright, so if I Shift-D, duplicate this, let's go down to the wall section. Let's locate this decal. Must have selected the wrong thing there. We'll just ignore that happened, and if we close this group, turning off the eye, and we turn back on a collection, which is this one, and we turn on everything, which is this one, now we have the glass looking right on both sides. You can't just have our text looking messed up, you know. That's unacceptable. So I'm going to press Alt-V, jump this into LQ. We're going to turn off overlays, and for the finality, I'm just going to hit blue, and we'll raise the threshold, catching these lights. We lower the radius, but also lower the intensity, and we see that we get a pretty nice result here. I still want an area light, so this needs to be moved into collection 1, which actually needs to be moved into M2-1. And so we look at this section without overlays, and we find our light, which is still here. Turn off overlays again. Where is this light? There we go. So this little light of mine, I'll let it shine, but maybe not to the intensity that we're allowing it to in the scene. And let's use these little handles. Something weird's going on there. I'm sure it will not come back to haunt us. We'll select this light. Let's just change this to 2 because it's a little intense. We'll put one here. And all these walls. In fact, isn't this decal right here supposed to be part of the walls group? No. Wait, yes. Yes, it is. So if we look under walls, we can place it there. And I'm guessing I'm looking at the local reflection here. What is this? I think it's because all these walls are lying to me. So let's put those in stuff and things. Turn that off. And where is this located? It's located where it goes. We turn all this on. We have it on one side, we have it on the other side, and we have it in the same place on both sides. So I think something was playing with my sanity there for a moment. So we go back to 1, which is that. We go to 2, which is this. And I would say that we're done. I mean, usually I like to get out of here before I start crashing the computer. But usually that is the next phase of things, is me absolutely wrecking this PC and sending it on its way. In fact, this light, we don't even want to let it be just an auto group thing. We might want to just make it specific ones in order to not have it wreak havoc on the scene. I'll have to find out what's going on. Maybe today's build of Blender is a little different than usual, but I do detect a disturbance. So to finish this thing off, I can't leave off without color management. So we change this to high contrast. And just affect our gamma, turn off overlays for the final time. This F6 menu has been up way too long. And we'll press Ctrl S and save it. And that will be where I wrap up this video. So I thank everyone who sat through watching this thing. And of course, go and check out Tony's decal kit, which is the whole purpose of this video, was to just kind of show you how I've been messing with decals in a decal machineless world, especially when putting them on flat objects. Just something that I hope all you guys get in there and start experimenting with. In fact, let me press Control Spacebar to maximize my view, and that'll do it. So I'll see you guys next time.